Hey everybody, how's it going? I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video than I've done, and this is a study into posing models. Um, I guess not so much a study. I don't know if that's the best word for it, but an experiment, a just a let's see what happens type of thing. And this is going to involve participation from you guys. What I mean is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each model one by one here. It's going to be a bit of a long video. And I'm going to ask you what you think, and I'll give you a better look, a closer look at them. What you think, or what you feel when you see that model in terms of, wow, it's posed a certain way. You can like, wow, it looks like it's getting ready to charge, or things like that. Like when you see the model, what comes to your mind? And what I'm going to suggest you guys do is, I'm not going to tell you what I think until I go through all of them for the models. So I suggest when you see a model, pause the video, write something down, watch it, next model. If you want to participate as much as you want to participate, or as little, if you want to do for every single one, pause it, write something down, go through the entire thing, and then post your comment after doing all of that. That way you can, so I can see it, or you can do your own video response with your own model poses that you have, and say what you think what you see when you see that. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. Well, let's start off basic. Let's I guess we'll move the camera around. Let's start off with this guy. This is a Assault on Black Reach model, regular tactical marine. Basically, when the standard pose for most of the tactical marines you see on their website or anything like that. I'll tilt them up so you can get a better look. So that's the pose of the model. What comes to your mind when you see this model? What do you think it's doing? Like, if this was a snapshot, like a frame capture of a video, what would he be doing next, or what's happening? So that's that guy. Let's zoom back out and pick and choose. Alright, let's start with this guy. Let's continue, I should say, with this guy. This is a Deathcore Creek Commissar model from Forge World, painted up in whatever color scheme. Now this, like the Assault on Black Reach model, can only really be posed one way without doing heavy conversion. So this isn't even going for a particular pose on my end. This is just how the model goes together. What comes to your mind with this guy? It could be more than one thing. It can be a couple of things. He's either doing this or this, depending on the situation. So that's the Deathcore Creek Commissar. Let's bring this guy into the fold. This is a conversion I did with the Emperor's Champion model and a Thunderhammer from one of the Masters of the Chapter. What comes to mind when you see this guy? His name's Henry, by the way. So what comes to mind when you see this model? I'm trying to show it without my hand getting in the way too much on the angle, so you can see the entire model instead of looking down at it. Let's move on to this guy. This is my pre-heresy Armin model, and I already talked about it a bit, but still, what comes to your mind when you see him posed this way? And also, food for thought, does the chapter or the legion or whatever army it is, the color scheme, does that affect your thoughts on what he's doing? Coming up next is a Bone Singer model from Games Workshop, that limited release thing they did a while ago. So this guy, the only thing that's added to him is the demon head of Slanesh and this Eldar spear. Everything else is how the model comes and how it's posed. What comes to mind with this, keeping in mind that with the addition of the spear and the dead demon head, does that change how the model would be perceived? In your opinion, would you go, well, it looks like this, if it didn't have the spear, it would be like this? Or maybe it doesn't change how you would view it. Making pretty good time. Alright, here's a converted, I didn't do the conversion, I just painted it, an Interrogator Chaplin. Painted up and ready to go, pretty much, and go do battle. And you can see it has some conversions onto it in the robes and all that, keeping in mind, taking it all in, of what the model looks like. What comes to your mind? What do you think, again, if this was a frame capture of a video, what would be his next moves, or move, one or multiple? And does the base have a factor at all? If he was based on a different base, would he still have the same, I guess, would you still conjure up the same imagery? So that's the Interrogator Chaplin. And does the fact that he's a chaplain change what you think it would be like this? For example, let's bust in this guy. He's just a sergeant or a command squad member, whatever. Different posing, yes, but do you think things differently because he's not an HQ type? So this is the Dark Angels command squad member or veteran sergeant member for Battle Company. Again, if I said this was a company master, would your thoughts change on what it represents, or would it stay the same? So that's this model right here. Coming up is a two-part model. It's Azrael, Supreme Grandmaster Azrael of the Dark Angels. And let's make some room because I gotta zoom out a little bit. Now, the reason I say a bit of a two-part is because this is how he comes. He comes with the Watcher in the Dark right there. Let's get this out of the way. Now, with this model, what comes to mind? And again, he's kind of big. He's got the big back banner along with the Watcher in the Dark. And if I take the Watcher in the Dark away, does that change anything as far as what you think about the model? In terms of what comes to mind, the imagery. Again, you know, some models look like they're charging, some models look like they're falling back, whatever. What comes to mind, and does it change if I take away the Watcher in the Dark? And with the Watcher in the Dark, if I put it somewhere else, does the imagery change at all? And lastly, a vehicle walker. This is an Iron Hands Dreadnought from Forge World with Iron Hand bits. This is regular Mark IV Dreadnought sarcophagus with stuff put on it to be Iron Handsy. Does the imagery it brings, does it change if he torso twists to the left or to the right? Like if he's like this, does that change what you think the model's doing if the model was straight on? So that's all the models for this little kind of experimental video. Hopefully if you're following along and want to participate, you did the pausing, because now I'm going to show the models again and give you my take on it. So starting off with the Angels of Fury model. Being a tactical marine, I think he's standing guard, holding his position, waiting for their orders or scanning the area. Basically, he's not in relaxed doing nothing pose. I don't really think Space Marines really do that. It's more of an alert, paying attention, but really kind of static. Like, I could see him just holding that position for a couple of minutes if he's holding position. So that's my thought on the Angels of Fury guy. Up next, I don't remember, I'm not going to do them in order because I don't remember the order I did them in, but with the Deathcore Creek Commissar, I think either he's stepping up to receive a charge and cut somebody down of the enemy, or he's stepping up to execute somebody. Now, unless you're going for a diorama pose, I think it's more he's stepping up to receive a charge, or maybe he's about to initiate a charge. That would be what I would say for the Deathcore Creek Commissar. This guy here, I think he's striding to battle pretty much as like, look at me, I'm a big contender, I'm the badass type of thing, and more striding forward with purpose, singling out somebody to bash his hammer against. If we're going with the fact that he's some type of champion or some type of special guy, he's probably wading through the battlefield trying to strike something down. So my view on this is he's advancing, getting ready, and it looks kind of intimidating because he's just hefting that hammer on his shoulder like it's nothing. Up next, I'll do the Eldar model. It could be a commanding pose. It could be I just killed his demon. and now I'm going to survey the area. Maybe he's defending something. If the demon and the spear wasn't there, I would say it's more of a surveying the area, maybe being a bone singer. He's doing some type of bone singer spell or bone singer psychic ability to conjure up more wraith bone. He could be commanding. That's my take on this guy. Giving a little spin. I did not pay him, by the way. Who's up? Let's go with Armin. I think being, now I said, does the fact that he's 1,000 Suns model or whatever color scheme he is affect your thoughts on it? And I would say, because I know he's 1,000 Suns, and I know he's Armin specifically, I would think he's doing some type of spell or just concluded a spell, or is about to do one, like I said, or commanding something. If this was panning up as somebody else, I would think more of a commanding role, unless I knew it was meant to be a librarian type. So, being 1,000 Suns model, I assume he's doing some type of psychic ability, and that's what I get when I see him pose this way. The attention's kind of going up here towards the staff. At least that's the intention. Up next, we have the Interrogator Chaplin. Now, he's got his robes tattered up a bit. He's seen some action. He's got skulls on him. He's got his plasma pistol up. He's got his Crozius or cannon ready. It looks like he's about to break into stride or charging again, or he just took a momentary stop in charging to level and get a good shot at a retreating enemy. Basically, I see it as a very aggressive type of thing, even though he's not flat out running. I think the way his head's positioned and the posing of the model is he's about ready to go into a charge or advance forward again after shooting some things, probably spouting on litanies of hate and all that jazz. So that's what I think for the Interrogator Chaplain, which is my favorite type of HQ, by the way. So that's that model. Now, with the robed sergeant model or the command squad model, I think he's issuing command on the run. He's on the move, maybe about to charge into something, or saying advance, or issuing an order for some guys to flank left, or saying look out for the heavy weapon up there, take aim, whatever it is. Looks like he's very much on the move commanding, is what I would say. Definitely issuing some type of shout or a charge order. Up next, we have Azrael. And I don't think his posing changes the feel of the model with or without the Watcher in the Dark. I think he has the same feel regardless, and it's very much a commanding pose, very much a charge, or for the lion. He looks very inspiring, very confident. That's the type of pose I think you get with this model. And again, like the Commissar model, unlike the Assault and Blackfish model, you can't really pose him that much differently without doing heavy conversions. So it's not so much a pose you're going for, it's what the model I think is intended to represent. I don't think that changes with or without the Watcher in the Dark. And lastly, the Dreadnought. When it's looking straight on, I think it's very much I'm about to do something destructive. And I think the if you twist it to the left or to the right, I think it does change the imagery a bit, especially when looking head on. As when he's going straight, I can picture it more so he's advancing. Now he can advance while torso twisting, no problem, but I think this is more I'm getting ready to fire a shot off with my plasma cannon for sure, than charging in for the assault. I think if he's going to charge in for the assault, he'd be charging in head on. So when he's twisted, I think it's more of a shooting pose, in my opinion. So, that's my little, I guess, experimental video on posing models, because when it comes right down to it, the way a model's posed is going to tell a lot about the story of the model. If you're going for an assaulting pose, you're probably going to make him look more aggressive. If you're going for a shooting stance or a defensive stance, he's probably not going to look like he's charging forward. He's probably going to have his gun raised up and leveled and ready to shoot, or something like that. So, if you were playing along, so to speak, tell me in your comment section what you think, any or all, like whatever models you want to do, or all of them, what their pose means to you, what you think out of it. And there's no right answer, unless you were going for a very specific pose and somebody just didn't see it. Maybe you quote unquote failed in that attempt, but still there's no wrong answer as to what you see in a model. So that's it. Take it easy.